Welcome to Tame the Taboo. This podcast is brought to you by Discover Her Health. Discover Her Health specializes in healthcare, education, and resources for her most intimate concerns. I'm your host, Nurse Jenna. I'm a women's health and gender-related nurse practitioner, and I am making it my business to take you from sufferer to sensei. So if you are suffering from conditions that are not easily treated in an annual exam, or you want to join me on this journey to become my healthiest, wealthiest, best business owning self, sit back, relax, and enjoy these episodes. All right, what's up? What's up? Welcome back to Tame the Taboo. This is the podcast presented by Discover Her Health. I am your host, Nurse Jenna, and I am here today with none other than my business coach, Greg Todd. And we are so excited to have him on the podcast. We are talking about more than just healthcare on this podcast. We're talking about how to make you healthy, wealthy, and whole. So I'm so excited to have you on the podcast, Greg. How are you?
Thank you, Tina. Thank you. I'm good. I'm better now that I'm talking to you. I feel good. I'm getting ready for our event, and yeah, it's going to be a great podcast. So let's get started.
Let's get into it. Okay, so tell the people who you are, the people who are in my world who don't know who Greg Todd is. Who are you?
So I'm a physical therapist by trade. You know what? I should say this. I'm a child of God first. So we'll start there. I happen to do physical therapy. I graduated in 2000, got my bachelor's degree in physical therapy, and I am what you call the anti-entrepreneur. Like, have you heard that? I just made up that term. So basically, I went into physical therapy so that I wouldn't be like my father. My father is a self-employed guy. I've seen my father was the first person in our family to make over six figures in a year. But I've also seen my dad hit rock bottom in his business. And I equated my parents' marital problems and whatnot to entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. So I always said that the last thing I want to do is have anything that has any type of instability in pay. And that's part of the reason why I became a physical therapist. So I did that for the first 4.5 years of my career. And then I realized that I was going through marital problems, even though I was not an entrepreneur. And it's because I could not get the thing that I wanted, that my wife wanted, which was more of my time. And so I reluctantly went into entrepreneurship in 2005. And I have been an entrepreneur now for 18 years. I have 3 clinics. I have a virtual assistant staffing agency in the Philippines. I do coaching and consulting through a mission called Smart Success Healthcare. I have an online fitness platform called Rehab to RX. And I have a software called Smart Success Healthcare Campaign Software, where we help healthcare professionals get their message out there. And basically we help people become successful, doing it the smart way, and doing it a way that keeps them healthy, mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, and physically healthy.
Amen.
That's it.
Amen. I love that. So I'm so happy that you were able to say all of that, because I have so many dreams and so many plans for my business. And sometimes when I say them out loud, people are like, and that too. And so to see you doing it and doing it in this way and doing it so well is you've just been such a blessing since coming into my life. So yeah.
So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about I want to share how I found you, if you are comfortable with that.
Totally, yes.
Okay. So I found Greg because I quit my job after having my second babe. He was 6 months old, and I was like, this is just not sustainable. You know, I am trading all of my time for money. I can't do this anymore. And I feel like I'm not aligned with the position that I'm in. I felt like I wanted to create systems. I wanted to create change. I was, trying to start a sexual medicine program at this busy downtown academic center that I was at in DC. And it was just not aligned with the role that I was in. And so I knew that something had to change. And so it was about a year of me trying to do all of this on my own, starting my own marketing agency, starting my healthcare business, starting my education platform. And I literally said a prayer to God, and I was like, God, I just need some guidance. I know that there has to be someone out there who is doing what I want to do. And literally it had to be a week later, you sent me a DM on Instagram. And I was like, okay, I guess I didn't expect it to be this direct, but here we go. And you said, what made you follow me? And you were putting on a challenge and you invited me into the challenge. It was a 5-day challenge. Literally, you were training people how not to trade time for money and to do all of the things that I wanted to do. And I think it was day 2, you put out an offer. And I was like, yep, sign me up. I'm buying. I'm bought in. I want to do it. So it was, and I think I remember you saying like, "Oh, you're an emotional buyer." I'm like, "Yes, I am," because you are what I've been looking for. So
I'm an emotional buyer too, by the way. I am.
yeah, I feel like if you are in touch with what you want, then it's no choice but to be an emotional buyer, right? Like I already knew what I wanted, and it was just a blessing
Right.
to be able to find you.
Wow. So I didn't like it's so interesting because you don't know exactly when someone comes into your world. I didn't know if you came into my world years ago or months ago. I do remember that message on Instagram, and I remember the conversation just kind of started from there. But I think one of the things is this, we have this amazing opportunity today to bless the people and help so many different people that are basically praying for us. We talked about this right before we started the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I said, every single day, I have the awareness and understanding that someone was at their place of worship, whether it was their home, whether it was a church, whether it was a synagogue, and they were praying for me. And I believe that is the case for every single one of us. I believe that there have been people in the last 24 hours that have been on their knees crying and praying
Mm-hmm.
for you. Now, you didn't pray for me a month ago. You were probably praying for someone like me a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not successfully do enough outreach so that I could answer your prayer earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's what I think, and that's what I believe. And that's why I'm so relentless in my mission, because I realize that there are so many people out there right now that are looking for this. Jenna, I believe there's so many people out there that are looking for what it is that you have to offer them.
Yeah,
And we need to do the activities that actually allows us to work in abundance. Here, can I say one more thing about this?
please.
See, I think everybody loves the idea of, oh yeah, I want to live a life of abundance. I want to live a life of abundance. Okay. All right, boo. So you want to live a life of abundance. Let me ask you something. Do you do abundance-based activities?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing, y'all. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Abundance-based activities are activities that allow people that don't know you to be aware of you. So here's what that looks like. What that looks like is, are you advertising right now? How many new people have you met in the last 24 hours? How many people have you gone up to at the grocery store and introduced yourself and said, hello, my name is Greg. What's your name? How many people have you collected their contact information in the last 6 hours? Like, how many people have you actually gotten on their stages? How many podcasts have you been on of audiences that don't know who you are? You see, if you're not doing those things, then you could say you want abundance all day, but you're actually not doing any abundance-based activities to actually put yourself in front of people that don't currently know you, that might be actually asking for you to come into their life.
Mm-hmm. And if you're listening on the podcast, I'm just emphatically shaking my head. Yes, 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 yes. Because I was saying all of these things. I know that I have these, what I call unicorn skills, right? The ability to heal some of the most complex, complicated urology and gynecologic issues. But what I didn't have, or what I'm still working on, is the confidence to put myself out there.
Right.
When I'm scrolling on Instagram, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cringy. I don't want to be dancing and doing reels and doing all of that. But I recognize that it takes being in front of people more than just one time so that they understand what you have to offer, so that you can really become that answer to their prayers. So,
Yeah. I mean, this is it. Like, this is what we never understood. You're a nurse practitioner. I'm a physical therapist. Whether you're a physician, you're occupational therapist, you're a dietitian, it's all the same thing. Okay. And basically, this is the first step of people coming in and trusting Jenna to be able to take care of their needs and the things that they need help with and the problems that they have. Step number one is that there has to be awareness. Right now, there's not enough people that know who Jenna Perkins is. Right now, there's not enough people that know who Greg Todd is. That's just reality. And it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how much of a blessing you can be to somebody. If they don't know who you are, you can't bless them. So the first thing is you have to get people to be aware of you. Now, here's the problem. The problem is that in order to do that, you're going to have to do awareness-based activities. There are also abundant-based activities. And those awareness-based activities, some people might call cringe. Okay. But that's what happens in order for you to actually get attention. Wherever attention goes, that's where the money flows. By the way, wherever attention goes, that's where the impact flows. You're not going to impact anybody if you ain't got no attention. So we need attention first. Okay. So the bad news is most of us don't have it. Here's the good news. The good news is that once upon a time, when I started online in 2015 is when I started doing Facebook advertising for my clinics. 2016 is when I started this mission of smart success healthcare, right? And I was doing Facebook advertising. Back then, the way that you got in front of new people was through advertising. So you paid money. Today, you can actually do this thing called short form video on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook, where what these platforms are doing, because they're in such competition with one another, vying for people's attention, they're saying, hey, listen, put your content on my platform. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in front of people that don't know who you are, and we're going to do it for free. All we ask is that the content be something that people like. We don't care about what you like. We care about what the people like. So if you do that, might be cringy, might be this, might be that. But if you do that, we will put you in front of people that don't even know you. They're basically giving you free advertising today. It's a unique opportunity that we need to take advantage of. So that's the first step. The first step is you got to get people aware of you. And after they're aware of you, some people will be like, okay, I don't really want what you have. And there's going to be some people that are like, you know what? I'm interested in what you have. That's how it starts.
It's so interesting because I've been putting myself out there, and I went to this weekend, the DC Bridal Expo, and it was hundreds of women walking past. And I had this big sign that said, pelvic pain, and another sign that was talking about like skin rejuvenation, which are two of the services that I provide. And so people will come up and they talk about the skin stuff, but people weren't really interested in talking to me about pelvic pain in such a public setting. And so I was kind of getting discouraged a little bit because I'm like, people don't really want to talk to me about their intimate things. And that's what I feel like I can make the most impact. And then a lady came up to me and she saw one of the products that I was selling. And she said, I've been looking online for this and I have had it in my cart and I have been going back and forth about, should I buy it? Should I not buy it? And I was not expecting to see you here today. And she was like, she walked away and I could see her talking to her girlfriends. Her friend was getting married and she was kind of tearing up. And I could hear her talking about how she was just feeling blessed in that moment that I would show up in this unexpected way. And so that was reinforcement to me to just keep going, just keep putting myself out there, because some people might not be interested in what you have to offer or might not be ready for what you have to offer, but there's going to be that one person that, like you said, has been praying for you, that has been asking God to have you show up in their life. So
I think you hit the nail on the head, and I want to encourage you with something real quick. I can tell you that probably 1% of the people that needed help with pelvic pain would come up to you because it's still a taboo subject. Okay, like here's the deal. People don't want to say to others in public, oh, I'm pee-peeing on myself. Oh, I got this going on. Oh, I got pain with sex. Like nobody wants to do that. It's not that. It's a very taboo subject. So just understand this. What you did over the weekend worked. It created awareness. What you just you need to make sure that you do moving forward is that you're giving people the ability for them to say yes and raise their hand without them actually saying to you, I have this problem. So that could be a QR code. That can be this, that can be that. Something that's like, hey, if you need this, go here and get this for free. Not, hey, you got pelvic pain? Come talk to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't know you like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's why you got a whole bunch of people skin rejuvenation. That's one thing. That's easy to talk about. Pelvic pain, pelvic problems, that's not as easy. So understand that there's a lot of people out there that want to raise their hand and say yes, but there's a lot of shame behind the thing that they want to say yes to. So they want to do it, but they just don't want to do it overtly.
Publicly. Right.
Okay? They don't want to do it publicly.
And guess what? The people who did do it publicly, right? I had a lot of, mothers of the brides who were coming up, and they were very open about talking about menopause, okay? Because I think that the tide is starting to change, and the conversation around menopause is definitely becoming more acceptable. But once some of the moms started talking about menopause, I could see some of the daughters start to light up and say, okay, I guess this is something that I can talk about. And even the people who weren't really willing to have conversations, they took my QR code, they took my handouts. And we do have a lot of free resources on the website for everything from a guide to finding the right lubricant for you. So people did take the information, but you're right. They weren't necessarily ready to have that conversation in such a public way.
But it worked. It worked perfect. The whole weekend worked perfect. You want to know why? Because it created the thing we need first, awareness. Mm-hmm. Like most people don't know we exist. So we have to just make sure that they're getting aware of us. A lot of times we want to look at marketing. And I say marketing because I call it's an abundant base activity. And we want to take that thing and we want to say, oh, my marketing worked if someone gave me money. Or my marketing didn't work because someone didn't give me money. But that's not how it actually works. How it works is that if you went out there and people went like this and they looked, it worked. Because now they're aware. By the way, they don't have to buy anything. They're just aware. Mm-hmm. So that's why I encourage you, and I encourage all the students that work with me, is that there has to be a level of relentlessness to you to create the awareness that you haven't created for all the years prior that you've been practicing, your skill set. It's amazing how we spend so many years to learn how to practice on people, but we spend zero time learning how to get people to practice on.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
And I really felt frustrated in my job because, again, I was not aligned with who I am at my core. At my core, I am a visionary. I am a creator. I am someone who I think has the foresight to figure out complex problems and offer solutions. And I was in a job that was not asking me to do that. They were like, sit down. We're not asking you to come in here and create an entire program around sexual health and urogynecology. We didn't ask that of you. And so it really took me kind of digging deep and recognizing who I am to take that leap. And I think motherhood definitely had a lot to do with that, and say, okay, well, how do I go from implementing to being the visionary that I was designed to be?
Yeah. You want to talk about that?
Let's talk about it.
So I think this is the big thing that many of us have to understand and just come to terms with. It's one of the first things that I teach in any of the people that I help, right? People that I help, a lot of it's free. There's paid levels, but basically everybody that I help, regardless, I help them with awareness. One of the things that people don't understand is that the system has trained us to be implementers. So I talk about the 4 levels of value, and it's something that I initially heard from, was it Brian Tracy? But it's amazing how you have to hear things over and over and over again for it to finally sink in. It was about 4 years ago that it finally sunk in when I heard it from one of my personal mentors, Myron Golden. And he talked about these 4 levels of value and the fact that we get compensated in the marketplace based on the level of value that we're operating at. So when we go to school, we are trained, whether you're a nurse practitioner, you're a physician, you're a doctor, you're a physical therapist, OT, chiropractor, doesn't matter. You're trained to be an implementer. You're trained to be someone that does a thing. Implementers make anywhere between minimum wage up to, could be 100, 150 a year, right? I mean, there's some outside things where you can make 200 if you're a massive specialist in this area, but for the most part, you're making like minimum wage, like 70K, right? Okay, that's most implementers, all right? But then if you want to move up in value in the marketplace, the next level would be unification. That's people that oversee implementers. So for me, my first job I had as a physical therapist, I made $39,500 a year. My second job I was a manager. I was working at the unification level. I was overseeing the people so they wouldn't kill each other. And I was making $55K. Now, this was back in 2002, 2003, but I think you get the point.
Mhm.
You make more money working at that higher level. Now, let's go back to what was going on with you and your job. You are trying to work, Jenna, at a high level. The next level is communication. Communication is when you are speaking and you are conveying a message and get people to move emotionally, getting people to act.
Mhm.
This podcast is communication. We are sharing our stories. We're sharing things that can help other people. It's helping more than one person.
Mhm.
Okay? That is not what implementation is. Implementation is when you are in the hospital, when you're in the clinic that you're working in, you are working physically with one individual at a time.
Mhm.
This is a spiritual skill. People can hear us speak. They can listen to your message. They can hear your story about when you're pregnant, not wanting to go back, and they can be moved by your message. They can hear my message and be like, wow, that was me too. I was struggling with that. They can be moved by my message. This is a spiritual activity. Now, the highest level of spiritual activity is you being like God. And God created us in his image, and he created us to be creators.
Mhm.
So here you are at your job, wanting to be a creator when the job is not meant for you to be a creator. The job is meant for you to be an implementer.
Mhm.
So look, there's many people that they are made to work for someone. They do not want to create anything. All they want to do is they just want to do the thing. And that's fine.
Clock in, clock
That's
out.
fine. Clock in, clock out. That's it. But there is a group of people out there that they're like, no, I want to be in a position where I can create,
Mhm.
where I can see problems, but I want to do something about it. There are some people out there that when they see problems, they want to hide. When you see problems, you start salivating. Like, okay, I want to do something about it, right? And so you can't work in an environment like that because you're not able to showcase the gift that God has given you. By the way, I actually believe that God doesn't just give certain people that gift. I believe he gives all of us that gift because it says in the word of God, it says he made us in his image.
Right.
What is the first thing that the Bible tells us about what God did? What's the first thing? He created.
Yeah. So I feel like we have to, if we are saying that we are Christians or we want to be one with God or are appreciative of the universe, then we have to use the talents that God has given us, or we're doing a disservice to ourselves and everybody else.
It's absolutely crazy, Jenna. There are so many things that I realized that God was giving me these gifts and I was just quenching them and not opening them every single day. I'm not saying you need to do this. I'm just telling you this happens to me. So I used to like at night, I'm an entrepreneur, right? And at night, sometimes I get dreams of like a new idea or how to do this or how to do that. Like, okay, even when I'm teaching you in the program, right? That, that you're in, and I have to make like a certain week's lesson for it before, obviously to train y'all and whatnot. There have been 2 times during this cohort that I had a dream at night in the exact way that it needs to be conveyed. It was so clear to me. Now, can I tell you what I do when that happens at 2:30 in the morning? Today, I actually open up the gift that God has given me. And I get myself up and I go and I write down everything. And it's clear as day. Now, you've been going through my program. How clear is it?
Very.
It's very clear, right? Okay. Those are gifts from God that God has given me for me to give you all. To make something that seems so complicated for so many people and to make it very clear for you all. Those are gifts. Those are given to me at night. So many people are given these gifts of ideas. It might be at night. It might be while you're running. It might be while you're nursing the baby. It might be while you're doing this. It might be, and they don't open the gift. So here's my thing. I believe everyone is given the ability to create. I believe everyone is given the ability to imagine, to dream, to envision. But I think what has happened is that the world, the system, the institutions have made us suppress that so much that we are now so numb to it. We're apathetic to it.
I think
And I think that's a really sad thing. Really sad.
especially in healthcare. You know,
Right.
it's difficult to be working within a massive system and have these ideas, have these thoughts, and constantly be met with, we don't have the money for that. We don't have the time for that. You were not hired for that role. And so if there is anybody that is listening, and I know that a lot of my friends are healthcare providers who I have been telling about your program, like telling them about your program, like, hey, like you need to listen to this guy. So I just hope that this message gets to the right people and they can join me in finding our lane.
Yeah. It's a big deal, y'all. I know that, some people look, I expect people to, just like with anything, you could be skeptical or this or that or whatever, and that's fine. Like, you take your time and whatever it is that you need to do. But what I can tell you is, as someone that was the most skeptical, and that is me, of doing anything with regards to business, we all will hit a pain point. You will hit it. There's no convincing that I will ever do to anyone. You will get to a point where you will hit your rock bottom. And then the pain will be so heavy that you'll be like, I have to go from, remember how we talked about in the beginning, awareness? Now I've got to not only consider, I've got to move forward with intent. Now, when you want to move forward, the opportunity for you to move forward with whoever you want to move forward, it might be available, it might not. Like it's like my wife. We've been together for 22 years, right? Okay. We've known each other for about 26. Okay. All right. So I was aware. I remember this. I remember I was in Panther Hall. This is at Florida International University, 1997, August of 1997. It was second week of school starting, right? And I remember seeing this chica in that was at the front desk. Like, man, she got these nice locks. Oh man, dang. Okay, cool. All right, now I was aware of her, right? Okay, great. And then now I quickly saw, man, this is a pretty black queen here. All right, now there's interest there. Okay, great. All right, wonderful. But just because I'm aware of her, and just because I got interest, well, I had to now consider, what am I going to do? Now, I didn't have it like that back then. So I really didn't have nothing to offer. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Or at least I thought I had nothing to offer. But you see, I considered it. But then once I considered it, I'm like, yo, I really want to take advantage of this potential opportunity. Could be a no, could be a yes. But then I had to say, something? I got to have intent now. Intent is like, okay, I got to go up to her and say something. Now, I didn't have to do it. But what if I did it?
Right. How would you feel? You would feel uneasy.
I'd feel uneasy. But how many people, Jenna, don't do it? They're aware of the situation. They're interested in whatever that person, that place, that opportunity. They're considering it now. Okay, there's some consideration here. And now they have intent where it's like, man, I want to move forward with that thing. I want to move forward with my business. I want to move forward with that person, right? But then they never actually take the next step. And they never actually say, I'm going to now actually execute intent. And I'm going to actually go do something. I'm going to sign up for the 5-day challenge. I'm going to go and talk to her at the front desk. For me, in August of 1997, I actually said, I'm going to actually have intent. So I went up to her when she was working at the front desk. She was an RA for this dorm. And I said, hey, this is my sweet line. You ready? So this is my, I was like, hey, so what you studying? Y'all, I was a Rico Suave back then. She's like pre-calculus. I was like, oh, for real?
Oh, she's smart and beautiful.
Okay, hold on. Oh, wait. You got to hear the rest of the story now. She said, yeah, I failed it last semester. So me now at this point, like, oh, wow, I saw a problem. She failed this class last semester. So what did I do? Now, Jenna, because like I love to give, but I also love to sell too. So I presented her with an offer. I presented her with an offer. So I said, hey, so I don't know how she wasn't attracted to these boys' good looks, but anyway, apparently she wasn't too interested in me. So anyways, I said, but I got an offer for you. I was like, what if someone that actually like got an A in pre-cal, what if I tutored you? Are you looking for a tutor? She goes, well, I guess. I was like, well, I can tutor you in this if you want, because I got an A in it like a year and a half ago. And this is like a cakewalk for me. I'll just be dramatic. Okay. All right. And then after that, she was like, okay, cool. I was like, all right, well, back then we didn't have no cell phones. So I said, hey, can I get the number to your dorm and I'll call you and we'll set up a time for me to tutor you. See, I presented her with an offer. Now, I didn't have to do any of those things. I could have waited like what most people do. Guess what? A year later, I could have waited, and then I could have gone back to the front and said, maybe she wasn't there. Maybe she been snatched up by somebody else.
With a ring on her.
See, in life, there's a lot of things that we wait for. And we're like, yeah, I'm going to do something about that. It's like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. And maybe the opportunity will be there for you whenever you decide to move forward intent. But a lot of times it's not. And when I'm telling your listeners, when I'm telling you right now, I'm coaching you right now, Jenna, is that I'm telling you that we have an opportunity right now in healthcare to make a massive shift. Like everybody knows healthcare is in a total crap hole right now. Okay. It's in a total crap hole. Okay. But we have an opportunity to learn new skills so we can work smarter, not harder, smarter. And we can become more successful. And successful looks different for many different people. For me, successful is being able to work when I want with who I want and however I want.
And still have massive impact and still change lives.
All day, every day. But I also want to be able to be the hero in my home. I also want to take care of me.
Right.
I mean, how hypocritical is it that we're here telling people, by the way, y'all, do you do healthcare or do you do sick care? Like, which one do you do? Because if we're doing healthcare, how in the hell are we supposed to promote healthcare when we're not even healthy?
Right. Especially in pelvic health, right? So many of the pelvic health providers are doing it out of necessity, are saying like, I've struggled with these things and nobody was able to help me. So now I have to be the solution for somebody else, you know?
Right. And people coming into your world for pelvic health, it should be the foundation. It should lead to a springboard of what other things people can do. When people are coming into your world and they got leakage or they got pain with intimacy, that is sick care. Someone is sick. They got a problem. Something ain't working.
And really, my role
is when I am taking my car and I'm souping it up. I'm feeling at my optimal level. So what I'm trying to say is this. I think it's very important for people to understand. The majority of us are doing sick care. We're calling it healthcare. We have an opportunity if we actually, and by the way, very few people can do sick care. So let's do it. But then let's also show them that they can get to so much higher than what they even thought. So let's go from sick care, help them because, hey, you're a nurse practitioner. There's certain things you can do that average Susie out there can't do. Okay? You have a certain set of skills that the average, they just don't have. You got skills that pelvic PTs don't have. You got skills that pelvic OTs don't have. You got skills that OBGYNs don't have. Cool. You do you, and you're helping them with sick care. But now let's take them up the ladder. Let's get them healthy. And let's do it in a smart way. So we can be successful, they can be healthy, and everybody can be cared for.
And then they can rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat.
I tell my clients all the time, my job is not only to make you feel better, but it's to make you feel empowered so that you can show up in the world as your whole authentic self and inspire so many other people to do the same thing. And that's how a revolution happens.
That's it. Love it. Love it.
I love that. So I think we should end it there. This has been an amazing conversation. Where can the people find you if they are interested in coaching? I have really been transformed. We've only just began the program and I'm already taking so much permission from you because that's really what I was needing is permission to say that these dreams are not too big. So where can the folks find you?
Yeah. If you're on Instagram, you can find me at Greg Todd PT. You can go to my website. It's gregtoddtv.com. I don't know when you're going to put out this podcast, but I have this amazing event coming called Smart Success Healthcare Live 2023. It's going to be in Clearwater Beach at the Wyndham Grand. You can get tickets at SSHClive2023.com if you have intent. If you just are considering or interested, go to my website, go check out what I have. You can find me everywhere on social media. And that's really it. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
That's awesome. I will be at the event. I'm so looking forward to it. It's going to be a vibe. It's going to be a time.
It's going to be amazing. I was actually just there today. We got our cruise ship ready for y'all for VIP. It's going to be amazing. You guys are going to be just blown away. Blown away.
A spiritual experience is what I'm hoping for.
Yes, for real. It will be. It will be.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for helping us tame the taboo. This is, again, more than just health. It's about health, wealth, and helping you be your whole best self. So thank you so much, Greg.
Appreciate you, Jenna.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Tame the Taboo. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Send this to your girlfriend so they can join you on your journey as we transition to our healthiest, wealthiest, best selves. See you in the next episode.